I'm going to start with a scene most of us have lived through. You see a cheap, starter microscope on a storefront shelf for a couple of bucks. You snap it up thinking you've got a great deal. And the first time you actually try to look at a real sample, say a stained leaf or a tiny insect wing, you spend more time adjusting focus than you do actually seeing anything. The disappointment is real, and it makes you wonder if there's a middle ground where you don't have to break the bank but also don't end up staring at a blurry mess. That's the dilemma I faced when I started looking for a decent compound microscope for my home lab, and the AmScope T670Q PL1000X Plan Infinity model kept popping up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes a microscope feel like a smarter buy isn't just the magnification number. 1000X is impressive on paper, but real-world usability matters more. I dug into the usual places hobbyists and biology students hang out: forum threads, YouTube teardown videos, even a few university buying guides. The consensus was clear: buyers crave a system that can grow with them, that offers reliable illumination without a flickering LED, and that lets you add a camera or phototube without having to buy a whole new microscope later. The T670Q ticks those boxes, but it also carries a few hidden trade-offs that only become obvious after you've set it up on a bench. First, let's talk about the optical train. AmScope's infinity-corrected label isn't just marketing jargon. It means the microscope uses a tube lens to focus light that's already parallel, which gives you a flatter field and less chromatic aberration across the entire view. In practice, this shows up when you're scanning a slide of pond plankton. The cells stay crisp from edge to edge, and you don't have to constantly recenter the image while you shift the stage. The 5 plan objectives ranging from 4 up to 40 are standard for a system meant to handle both educational demos and more detailed research. I tried the 40 objective on a prepared slide of onion cells, and the subcellular details were surprisingly clear, especially compared to a budget 8 to 20 kit that tends to lose contrast at higher powers. Illumination, however, is where the smart buy label gets tested. The built-in LED with Koehler illumination is a big step up from the cheap incandescent lamps you find on entry-level microscopes. Koehler lighting provides even, adjustable light across the field, which is essential when you're trying to detect faint staining or compare live specimens. I ran a quick test with a live zebrafish embryo, adjusting the diaphragm and condenser just like I would in a teaching lab, and the illumination stayed consistent without any buzzing or heat buildup. That matters because thermal drift can actually move your focus a fraction of a millimeter, a nuisance you definitely notice when you're trying to record a time-lapse. Now, the T670Q is marketed as highly expandable, and that promise is mostly true. The Trinocular port on the head gives you a dedicated third eye for attaching a camera or phototube without sacrificing the 2 eyepieces you'd normally use. I snapped a cheap USB microscope camera onto the port, and the live feed appeared on my laptop with virtually no lag. The image quality matched what I saw through the eyepieces, which is a relief. Many cheaper microscopes lose brightness once you add a camera. This makes the system a solid choice for anyone who wants to document observations, whether you're a high school student building a science fair project or a hobbyist photographer chasing microscopic textures. Who should consider buying the T670Q? If you're an undergraduate biology major who needs a dependable workhorse for histology labs, the expandable optics and steady LED are worth the price tag. If you run a small home lab and you plan to eventually add photomicrography, the Trinocular slot saves you from a costly upgrade down the line. Even teachers who want a durable microscope that can survive a semester of heavy use will appreciate the combination of a sturdy metal frame and the ability to replace objectives as curricula evolve. On the flip side, if you're hunting for a just-for-fun microscope to glance at onion skins while you binge-watch TV, the $400+ price may feel steep. The system's size and the need for careful alignment also mean it's less portable than a compact, single-tube unit that you can toss into a backpack. Practical strengths keep coming up when you break the experience down piece by piece. The focus mechanism is a dual-knob style course and fine that feels smooth and gives you precise control, which is a blessing when you're trying to lock onto a minute structure at 400. The 90mm tube length is standard for infinity systems, so you can swap in higher-grade objectives in the future without the need for adapters. The included set of 5 objectives also means you won't have to add anything extra just to get a decent range of magnifications. On the weakness side, the microscope isn't plug-and-play. You'll need